All right, so for this problem, we're going to use the traditional multiplication method, but we're going to be using decimals, or we have decimals in the problem. So one of the things you want to do when you're multiplying with decimals, the traditional method, is you multiply like normal. So you just do the traditional method, you just do all the multiplication, and at the end, you're going to add the decimals in. So let's get started. So we're going to start by multiplying 3 times 4, then 3 times 2, and 3 times 5. Now each one of those digits has place value, so we want to make sure we have the proper place value when we are all done. So let's take 4 times 3, which is 12. We're going to carry the 1. And then we take 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 1, which is 7. And then we take 5 times 3, which is 15. So as I mentioned, we're going to be putting the decimal in at the end. So notice that in this particular number, 524 hundredths, we actually have 2 decimals places. Not decimals, we have 2 decimal places. And this number, we don't have any. So the rule is that you count however many decimals you have up here in your factors, and then that's how many decimal places you put in your answer. So we have 2 in all. We're going to add those together. So we have 2 decimal places in all. So now we're going to have our answer will have the same number of decimal places. So we would start here because all whole numbers have a decimal that starts here. And we are going to show that that's 1 decimal place. But if we move it here, our final answer does have 2 decimal places. So we would say our final answer is 15 and 72 hundredths. Now let's take a look at the bottom number. It's a little bit different. We're actually multiplying by a decimal on this one. So we are still going to take 5 times 1, 5 times 4, and 5 times 9, just like you would if there were no decimals at all. So let's take 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. And 5 times 9 is going to be 45 plus 2, so we'll get 47. Now this one's a little bit different because on this one we actually have 2 decimal places in the top factor, so we're going to put a 2 there. And in the second factor we have 1 decimal place. So on this particular problem we're actually going to have a total of 3 decimal places in our final answer. So you can simply count over 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places. So we are going to put our final decimal there. So this answer would read 4 and 705 thousandths. So this is how you incorporate decimals in your multiplication problems.